imagine Israel and the Jewish people like spreading to the whole world, like becoming a diaspora, or I don't know, you have Chinese diasporas or Indian diasporas. It's just like they are from one region, but then they like spread all around the world. Yeah, for various reasons, they might flee some persecution, or I don't know, they just like pursue some commerce or something. But you have many of these like immigrant diasporas. But Balaji discusses like a reverse diaspora. So you have all these people, like I don't know, like let's say if it was like me in Slovakia, you in Kenya, and we are interested in, I don't know, Balaji's concept of the network state or something, and we end up like I don't know, crowdfunding some real estate in Kenya, or let's say in some third country, and just like moving there, it's just like and with living with a bunch of other people, just like in some random, I mean, not the random place, but the place we choose.
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo's Desk podcast. My name is Jakub Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Balajism and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Jakub Simek about his article, Reverse Diaspora, under the daily Balajism series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Simek. Jakub, thank you once again for joining me at Mtambo's Desk podcast.
Hi, Duke. Pleasure is mine. Hi, good to see you again.
Great. So, Jakub, in your article, you talk about the concept of reverse diaspora as introduced by Balaji Srinivasan in 2013. Can you explain to our viewers what a reverse diaspora is and how it relates to technology?
Hi, so Balaji wrote this article, "The Software is Reorganizing the World," and he's paraphrasing the Mark Andreessen article, "Software is Eating the World," and it's just like, let's say, you can have, let's say you have Tesla car, or you have some electric vehicle that has like 100 times less pieces and parts than the internal combustion engine vehicle, and many things can be done by software. Let's say you pay for a different package and you get like an unlock. Let's say you get like a sport version of your car, like your Tesla, so it's like something that was actually before produced by some hardware. Now it can be done by software, and I guess there are many like examples like that. But yeah, the most obvious is like, let's say you don't need to travel to Kenya to have a conversation with you here, dude. We can just have fast internet and Zoom, and this technology is like really improved over the years. And we saw it during the pandemic, as we discussed before, that the remote work was possible, and actually the digital and the internet became the primary. So this is like the software is eating the world. It's like an old article, even older than Balaji's, because he's like referring to his then colleague Mark Andreessen from A16Z, who coined or who wrote this essay. And I don't know the year, but it was over 10 years ago. Could be even more. And Balaji, in his 2013 article, the software is reorganizing the world, basically discusses the option of what he calls the possibility of what he calls the reverse diaspora. So it's like people who meet who are like separated, but they meet each other online, and they create some kind of bonds, and then they end up being physically concentrated. So it's like, I don't know, imagine Israel and the Jewish people like spreading to the whole world, like becoming a diaspora, or I don't know, you have Chinese diasporas or Indian diasporas. It's just like they are from one region, but then they like spread all around the world. Yeah, for various reasons, they might flee some persecution, or I don't know, they just like pursue some commerce or something. But you have many of these like immigrant diasporas. But Balaji discusses like a reverse diaspora. So you have all these people, like, I don't know, like, let's say if it was like me in Slovakia, you in Kenya, and we are interested in, I don't know, Balaji's concept of the network state or something, and we end up like I don't know, crowdfunding some real estate in Kenya, or let's say in some third country, and just like moving there, you know, just like and with living with a bunch of other people, you know, just like in some random, I mean, not the random place, but the place we choose. And you know, some like even you could see now, like many people, let's say they go to Dubai for because I don't know, because of the economic freedom, probably, and the quality of life or the security or something, like they have some reasons for it, like why they moved their business there, you know, like let's say they escape Russia or some other parts of the world, and they move their business to Dubai. So it's like one example, which is like very distant example, but like yeah, or maybe just to conclude or summarize, is like Balaji discusses specifically, you know, he talks about quantity and quality, and also like time. So you can have, let's say, two people meeting for a coffee who found each other on the internet, so it's like online dating or something like that. But then you can have some like other service that is like promoting or like focusing on, let's say, marriages or something, so you might end up like living together, you know. So it's like two people meeting for a day, or you have some like software engineers conference for a special, I don't know, for some special technology, and you can get like 1,000 people like meeting for 2 days, you know, for a conference, or for 5 days. Or you can have like I don't know, 100 people, or let's say 30 people meeting for some like 3 month or 1 month course, you know, somewhere, or some retreat somewhere, like let's say 2 week retreat, and you have 20 people. But Balaji is interested in, let's say, can you get like 10,000 people who stay together for a year, or you can have like, or 10,000 people who crowdfund a city. And he sees it as a kind of continuum, you know. You can have like let's say 5 people crowdfunding a dinner together, you know. It's or something like that, you know, like renting a place and doing some party together. And that's like on a continuum of becoming like a shadow mayor of your city or something. That's a concept from the British politics, but it's like like some activist or unofficial, I don't know, activist of in some kind of city. Let's say like Obama was like a community organizer, something like that. You know, so you have to have some skills to be like a community organizer. And let's say this is still like on a continuum of let's say crowdfunding your whole let's say some brand new village or community or city or cul-de-sac in the middle of nowhere, let's say. Thanks to Starlink, you can like start some community in the middle of nowhere and like crowdfund it. And so, yeah.
Okay. I see. So technology is essentially making it easier for people to come together, even if they are separated by a physical, say, ocean. Okay, how does this relate to the idea of network union too?
Right, yeah. So this is a very good question. Thanks, dude, because it's basically like the Balaji talks about, like how the goal in the early 2000s was to get everybody online. You know, like everybody in, let's say, Facebook had like these programs for some kind of cheap internet connection, or let's say if you had like some Facebook bundle or something, you didn't need to pay for data that much. I remember in Kenya was something like that, if I'm correct. And basically the goal was to get everybody online, and now the goal in the 2020s is to get everybody aligned, you know. So it's like, let's say in the last decade it was to get everybody online, and this decade the goal is to get everybody aligned, meaning like you don't need to build like some super big social networks, but there is a very huge benefit from alignment when you have actually people who don't need to argue about everything constantly, but who are like very aligned. Let's say they think the crypto is good, and let's say self-improvement is good, longevity is good, and then you get like loads of benefits, because you actually have people who want to do things together, and they're not just like fighting constantly or just pursuing many different interests, but let's say, yeah, that they're at least aligned on this, let's say, the one commandment, or this one moral innovation, what the Balaji talks about. So, and the network union, okay, so there is a big difference between, let's say, Twitter and the network union.
Yeah.
Because okay, the Elon Musk now owns Twitter, but nobody signed to Twitter to be, let's say, a subordinate of Elon Musk, or he's like the also the biggest account on Twitter, which is like interesting. But he can't give you orders or something like that. You are not there to like listen to his orders. You are there to see him trolling someone else. I don't know. You are there to see him trolling AOC, or someone trolling Elon Musk, or this and that. But it's basically what Balaji talks about, like this. It's basically just infotainment or entropic news, or it's just like particles going all in all directions. It's heat and it's not work, So there is a difference between heat and work. And so the network union. So imagine, let's say, like a trade union where everybody should be like, let's say, when the union says it's time to strike, then everybody has to strike. Otherwise, you are like being punished, or you just can't be the one, let's say, the one teacher who doesn't strike or something like that, which might be like sounds like cruel or weird or something. But like imagine the difference actually that Balaji actually quantifies this. He says like if you have like 1 million followers on Twitter, you get usually like 2,000 likes or something like that. So it's like 0.2% engagement. But actually, what you want to get, it's close to 100% engagement. Let's say somebody is sick, so he doesn't contribute, or he's not a part of some like a collective action, but actually you want to have like almost like a daily collective actions, to be to be considered like the network union. So the startup society, anyone can start a startup society, but let's say to be like a highly aligned community, to build a highly aligned community, you need to pursue like, let's say, some daily digital collective action, and let's say you can have like some fortnightly physical activity, let's say like 2 weeks. Like once in 2 weeks you meet for a meetup or something like that. So so physical is also important, but basically this network union can exist purely in digital space. It can be like distributed. It could be just like let's say a guild of graphic designers that protect each other against cancellation, and they also like support each other and learn together or something like that. So it can be like a guild using crypto and internet to support each other. But just maybe to conclude, it's quite interesting to think about it, because if you have like 2,000 highly aligned people, let's say in this network union, you get actually the same kind of engagement than with with the million followers that are not aligned. So you can have like much smaller actually teams. So you don't need to have like a big social network or the big network union or the big network state or something like that. It actually can be like I don't know, a few orders of magnitude smaller. It doesn't need to be a billion a user network, social network. It can be like a few thousands or tens of thousands of users network. Yeah. I mean, sorry, network union. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's so interesting. Maybe finally, how do you see technology affecting the way people live and work in the future?
Right. So you can have like these trends of remote work and Starlink like accelerating and like becoming a reality. You know, like for example, Elon Musk, he wants everyone who can to come back to work. You know, and you have these kind of trends. You have like some trends, then you have a counter trend, and the question is like, will be this kind of trend persistent? Or you have like yeah, satellite internet, but let's say in case of some serious cyber war between like I don't know some superpowers, those satellites might be destroyed and this and that. So yeah, the question, okay, like it's like how these trends will persist. On the other hand, you know, you have internet as a internet is built to withstand the nuclear war, you know, between superpowers. So it's like I guess it's kind of difficult to destroy internet, and therefore it's also difficult to destroy Bitcoin, you know, like a digitally native form of money. And you have, yeah, this kind of you know, you have this like sovereign individual thesis like from 1997 that individuals will be more powerful. You can see someone like Elon Musk, you know, emerging again after 100 something years ago. You had these like these railroads barons, or they were called like robber barons, you know, like some industrialists from the United States that were building railroads. And you have something similar like in like space race between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, you know, these kind of things. Mm. And basically also like what we just discussed, like technology actually allows small collectives to have a big leverage. So you can have like Instagram, like having, I don't know, a couple of dozen employees and beating Kodak with like a few tens of thousands of employees, you know. So you can have like a 1000x leverage, you know, like 12 people can be the company that has like 1000 more employees. And so if you have like this like sovereign collective, so maybe this is what Balaji would say, like if you have not just like sovereign individuals, but like sovereign collectives, or Alexander Bard would call it like tribes, you know, so like Balaji talks about like how the world is re-tribalizing thanks to the internet. And if you have like a highly aligned community, like let's say the network union that Balaji talks about, yeah, you can achieve a lot. You know, you can still like work remotely, but you can also live with people who share your values. You can maybe then raise kids together, like you can build like your own kind of like small private school or a kindergarten for those kids. And it's also maybe good that you don't work for the same company, but you are kind of aligned in values, you know, like ideology. But let's say if someone or someone's company or project doesn't yeah, goes bankrupt or something, then at least the other you know, the community is more resilient, because let's say it's not just it's not like everybody working for the same factory or same company, but it's still, if it's small and if it's like in this like Dunbar number kind of scale, meaning like around 150 people or even much smaller could be, then it's like then everybody can know everyone else, and it's like the trust, you can build trust organically. And you discussed these 10 households last time with the Kenyan innovation of and I forgot the Swahili word, actually I didn't remember it, but
Nyumba kumi.
Nyumba Kumi, okay.
Yeah, nyumba kumi.
Nyumba
Like,
Kumi, okay.
yeah, nyumba kumi. So it's
10
10 houses.
households.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So imagine that, but plus crypto, something like that. That could be the future of work. And just like maybe to conclude, Balaji actually has this concept of like the past is our future and our future is our past. So you know, like in the West, like many people moved into cities, and you get all these like state kind of protection, but also overreach. And you know, before people used to have big families, like 3 generation families, and then they like get smaller into nuclear families, and thanks to the state, let's say, the various benefits. And now you have even like single people, like many, like, let's say, if not majority, then like big minority of people, let's say in Sweden or something, they're like singles living, like one person lives in, let's say, 1 room or 2 room apartment. But like actually what Balaji thinks that we might actually go back to the past or the future. Our future is our past, where like these technologies, as we discussed, remote work as a moral innovation, Starlink as technical innovation, crypto as technical, and also social innovation, social economical innovation can actually, I don't know, get you back to, let's say, rural settings where you have fast internet, but you can live in a rural area. You can have larger families, and actually, it's also like your kids can actually also work sooner.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, they can be it's something like when they work on farm, but you can have like a automated farm or some like automation there, so you can have like less people actually being more productive with some robotics and like agri-tech farming. And also when the kids are like within the family, that the parents are trying to like take care of them and like watch them and supervise them. So it's a bit different from kids working in some company, or let's say teenagers working in a company, or like having some like student jobs or in some factory, because actually the company or the factory doesn't care that much about those let's say teenage kids. But the parents do, so they don't want their kids to like work too hard or something like that. They just want them also to learn and to kind of have some balance there. But it's something like apprenticeship. So you have like 15-year old, let's say in Switzerland who are already earning good money because they're like apprenticeship for some, I don't know, company. But this is something similar, but it can be like done even like within the family setting, let's say, thanks to robotics, thanks to crypto, thanks to AI, like advances. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can have like a family farm, which is which is like which is actually has also some advanced technologies there in the future.
That's nice and interesting. Thank you, Jakub, for joining me again today. It was great having this deep conversation with you.
Thank you, Duke. The pleasure is mine.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo's Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.